What's up, everybody? Jeff Cooper here. Welcome back to Blue Collar Heathen on YouTube. And today I'm going to be answering not one, not two, not three, but 36. 36 questions for atheists. And this is by Applied Apologetics, I think it is. Anyway, it's a short little video. It's got 36 questions in 3 minutes. So I'm sure that these are not at all attempt to be, gotcha questions or anything like that. That, this is someone that is seeking common understanding with atheists and, is curious about, maybe why we've come to the conclusions that we have when it comes to the God question. I'm sure this isn't going to be a bunch of trite apologetic questions that, are supposed to be gotchas that only would be to a audience of Christians that already agree with the person asking the question in the first place. So, as I'm sure that is not what it's going to be, we're going to get into this and we're going to get this done. Okay, so 36 questions for atheists. You ready? I'm ready. Let's see what they got.
Why is there something rather than nothing?
Well, as E equals MC squared, you can get something, matter, out of energy. So, there you go. There's something rather than nothing because energy is a thing.
Is there any evidence that suggests the universe is eternal?
Is there any evidence that suggests the universe is eternal? There's nothing saying that it's not eternal. And as our ability to observe it only goes back so far, after that is unknown, there's no reason to think that the universe had a finite beginning. So, I think the question is phrased poorly.
If not, why do atheists hold on to this idea and say that you've debunked the Kalam?
Well, the Kalam has been debunked, for centuries. And we hold on to that idea because that we're even discussing the Kalam in this context would be the Kalam brought to the Western world by William Lane Craig in 1978 when he hijacked it from Islam. And that the fact that the argument can be used for both the Islamic understanding of God as well as the Christian, just that tells you right there that it's a broken compass. So that's enough right there to kill it. Premise 1 is fatally flawed. Premise 2 cannot be demonstrated to be true, and the conclusion doesn't get you within 14.6 billion light years of a god. It's nowhere in either premise, so I don't understand why you would even use it, because even if you could get through the Kalam with the fatal flaws in the argument, you still don't get to a god, much less the Christian one.
If so, why do the vast majority of scientists reject this idea?
The idea that the Kalam is bunk? I don't understand what you're even asking there, dude.
Why is the universe so fine-tuned?
It's not. I mean, who told you it was? Who told you it was? Because they lied to you.
If your answer is the multiverse, why is there no evidence for this theory?
My answer was not the multiverse, so that was non-applicable.
Is it possible that there is no natural explanation for the origin of life?
Is it possible that there's no natural explanation for the origin of life? No, that is not possible. That's not possible. No, that's not possible.
Where does consciousness come from?
Consciousness is, or appears to be, an emergent property of the brain.
Do you lack a belief that God exists, or would you say that God does not exist?
Well, my answer to that is I haven't thoroughly studied every God claim. Okay? So I will say that the God of Abraham cannot exist. And all derivatives of that are, gods that couldn't exist. So the Yahweh, the Christ, Allah cannot exist. Christianity cannot be true. It is not true. If it just can't be. So I know that God does not exist. Other gods might, and if they do, I look forward to them being discovered, because to the best of my knowledge, no God has ever been discovered. So, until such time as one is, I don't even know what we're talking about, and neither does anybody else.
Do you just lack a belief that Zeus exists, or do you believe that Zeus does not exist?
With regards to Zeus, I find Zeus to be a hell of a lot more plausible than I do Yahweh, but I really don't have any reason to believe that Zeus exists either.
If you just lack a belief that Zeus exists, why are you centuries behind the rest of the world who says that Zeus does not exist?
I don't think that's what I said, so...
Do you act according to what you believe, or what you just lack a belief in?
I act in accordance to what I believe. That's simple enough.
What evidence is there that atheism corresponds with reality?
Well, all of it, because there is absolutely no evidence in reality of God's being existent and doing things that interact with reality. So all of the evidence in reality supports an atheistic view rather than a theistic one, because there is no direct evidence anywhere in reality of a God, ever. Why are you even asking that?
Is atheism a worldview?
No, it's not.
If not, what is your worldview?
On what topic? My worldview is based upon my experiences and my take on things. That is my worldview. Same as yours, same as everyone else. Doesn't have a dogmatic framework to it, which could not exist with atheism anyway. So I get what you're trying to do, but it's not making any sense.
What would convince you that God exists?
Oh, well, that's easy. Discover one, first off, and publish your findings, and have those findings be peer-reviewed and achieve consensus. That would do it.
Are you willing to follow the evidence wherever it leads, even if it leads to a different understanding of how the universe works?
Yes, I am. And I have absolutely no problem saying that, because that's exactly what I've done.
If Jesus rose from the dead, would you become a Christian?
Absolutely not. No reason to become a Christian, even if there is a Jesus character that did rise from the dead, because if that occurred, if a man was dead for 3 days, then got up and walked around, that does not make him divine. All that means is we didn't understand death near as well as we thought. To say that that is evidence of divinity it's an argument from ignorance, that you don't know why something happens, so you're inserting a god into it. That doesn't fly. It's a horrible reason to become a Christian.
If you wouldn't become a Christian, why would you ever accept the fact that he rose from the dead?
I don't accept the fact that he rose from the dead. I don't accept that as fact. People don't rise from the dead after 3 days. After 3 days of being a corpse, the cells they're too far gone. You're not getting that back. There is not going to be a return of spontaneous circulation there. It's just not going to fucking occur. The blood that is left has all congealed. There's nothing liquid left to even circulate. So no, 3-day corpses don't rise from the dead. That isn't even to say, how the cells in the brain have decayed in those 3 days without oxygen or glucose. It's too far gone.
Why do atheists keep insisting that faith is blind trust when that's not what Christians or the Bible say?
Well, because that is, in fact, what the Bible says. And it is what Christians say. Now, if you have an alternate definition, I'm willing to listen to it. But, if you read Hebrews 11:1, it pretty much says, faith is shit that you can't prove, and, it's what you hope to be true. It is wishful thinking. That's what it says. Not my fault.
Why do you want material evidence for an immaterial God?
I didn't say I wanted material evidence for an immaterial God. I said I wanted a God to be discovered. You can have evidence of unseen things. You can have evidence of energy. You can have evidence of, if it's immaterial, lacking, physical matter to it, which is inconsistent with the Christian God anyway, then, you can still have evidence of that. We have detected, energies from far-flung regions of the universe. And we've been able to detect those and measure it and verify it, and describe it. If the God is energy, like you said, should be able to do that too.
Is there a purpose to life?
Yeah, whatever you make of it. Whatever you make of it, there's your purpose.
If there is, by what standard do you determine that life has purpose?
Whatever standard you use to make that decision. It's yours to make, so, whatever standards you use.
If not, what is the point of listening to this video?
Usually to make fun of you. Be completely honest. Get an upload in. I don't know. Something to do while I'm waiting for the laundry to dry.
Where does morality come from?
Morality comes from empathy, which we have evolved as a social species, by all appearances. It certainly doesn't come from any deity.
How do you determine what is right and what is wrong?
Well, that's based upon your interpretation of events and actions and consequences from those events and actions, based upon your experience and your understanding.
When a lion kills a cub from another pride because that's what natural selection has raised you to do. Is that morally acceptable?
Okay. I don't like that question because it's dishonest and it's not even really relevant. So I would ask him to rephrase that.
If evolution has put a sense of morality into us to help us survive, what makes our actions better than any other animal's actions?
No one said, I don't think that anyone said that our actions are any better than any other animal's actions. It's that our sense of morality favors humans. You know, we're speciesist, you know, and that's just how it is. You know, we favor our own species, which would make sense from an evolutionary standpoint.
Is it morally acceptable for you to kill a toddler because you can no longer financially support it?
No, why? Are you going to abortion shit now?
Is it morally acceptable for you to kill a fetus in the womb because you could not financially support it?
Yes.
Is it morally acceptable to kill a baby after it's been born?
No.
How can you morally differentiate between a baby in the womb at 6 months and a baby born prematurely at 6 months?
Because a baby born prematurely at 6 months is already out, and a baby in the womb, that doesn't make any sense because it's not a baby. So the fetus at 6 months has very little chance of surviving by its own self. If it's born at 6 months, if it's that premature, it's going to be spending a long time in NICU. And, medicine's gotten better. That could be, easily viable to be born, at, 27 weeks or so. But, it's going to be difficult. I didn't say that I supported 6-month abortion, which is kind of what you're getting at. So, I'm not sure why you're asking these questions, because you're being awfully specific for not having anyone that you're actually talking to.
Who was Jesus?
No, he was some immoral carpenter running around first century Palestine. That bunch of stories were written about him and things got out of hand.
Why did his disciples say that he rose from the dead?
Oh, we don't know that his disciples did say that. We have people writing 30, 40, 50 years after the alleged events took place saying that his disciples said that, but we don't know that his disciples said that at all.
Why does the Bible keep lining up with archaeology?
I'm going to need more information of what you're actually talking about there, because I don't know that it does. Arimathea has never been found, and as best I can tell, Joseph of Arimathea was a literary construct, a deus ex machina. So, if you can point to the archaeology that speaks to where Arimathea was, that would be neat. We know that there are some places in the Bible that the stories, that the stories incorporated as setting, but that isn't uncommon in any supernatural tale. Consider all the Repairman Jack novels that, take place in New York City, I mean, New York's a place. So, I don't know what you're talking about, dude.
Why do the three bloodiest regimes in history, that being Mao's China, Nazi Germany, and Stalin's Russia, come from atheistic ideas?
They don't. They don't. That doesn't come from atheistic ideals at all. It comes from, nationalism and totalitarianism, and that isn't an atheist. Those aren't atheist ideas. That's bullshit. And Hitler was Catholic. But, oh, was that already 36 of them? Well, gee. That was entertaining. Well, there we go again. 36 questions this time. Christians do this a lot. They'll have questions for atheists that are supposed to be gotchas, that are supposed to show a problem or something with the atheist position, and they don't, ever. They're never the gotcha kind of questions that the person asking them thinks that they are. And a lot of them are questions that, we've been asked and countered for a long, long time. Some of us longer than others, but, long time. A lot of times when apologists are asking these questions, they are showing their complete lack of understanding of the atheist position, or their willingness to build strawmen, to combat. They are very rarely actual honest questions that are seeking to better understand or to have a better discussion, because that isn't what apologists do. That isn't their gig. That isn't what they're about. That isn't something they value. Words for them are weapons in defense of the faith. So we're going to do the wrap-up now. And after the music, I might have a couple more things to say about various topics that don't really have to do with this particular video, but fuck it, I'm already here. So, that's all we got for this time. Thank you so much for sticking around. Now, this is the part of the episode where you do the YouTubey things. The liking, the sharing, the subscribing, the ringing of the bell, the getting of the notifications, the leaving a comment down below. Maybe we can come up with 36 questions to ask the theists, except actual questions, okay? I don't want 36 gotchas, because, that doesn't move anything anywhere, all right? We've already played that fucking game. So, anyway, you do the things, and we'll see you next time. Take it easy. Here's the tunes. Stop being a bunch of toxic fuckwads. And I'm not just speaking to that one YouTuber inventing the barbarians at the gates, because they're not worth me speaking to, and I won't mention their name because fuck them. If you fucked up, unfuck it. Seriously. Find a way to make it right. That's how to do. Rocking this fucking mug.